Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. You're here with the Bitwarden team, and we're happy to be running through some product updates and chatting with you all about any questions that you might have. So we'll just pop over to the next slide. So here's what we're going to cover today. We have an update on our security audits. Ryan's going to take us through some product updates. We have a bit of a feature preview. Gonna share a bit of how-tos, so how to level up your skills with Bitwarden, answer a couple of our great community questions, and then talk about the Open Source Security Summit. And then on the next slide, we're here today because we want to chat with you, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat. There is a Q&A box there, or just let us know if you want to come up onto the stage and ask any questions. So just let us know if you do. And otherwise, we will jump into it. So next slide. So over to you, Casey.
Great, thank you. So I kind of wanted to level set a little bit. I know a lot of attendees in Vol Hours, they are, have been using Bitwarden for a long time, and I don't think we necessarily talk about some of the security audits that we do on a regular basis. And so I kind of wanted to just make everyone aware. That Bitwarden is conducting these annually and even more regularly than that. So jumping right in to the next slide. There we go. So Bitwarden conducts regular security audits with notable third-party security firms. So this includes covering the source code and then also doing penetration testing across clients. So this is more of a dedicated kind of report that Bitwarden does with these security firms. But as a reminder, Bitwarden is also open source. That means that it can be audited by anyone at any time. So that additional auditing is kind of on top of the more dedicated security audits that Bitwarden conducts. Cool. And so moving on, I wanted to share a couple of new security audits that were just published. These are all viewable in the Bitwarden Help Center. And so you can see a long list of all the different audits that have been conducted over the years. But the newest additions are an audit of the Bitwarden marketing website and then the Bitwarden mobile app. So this includes both the standard Bitwarden application and then also the Bitwarden Authenticator app. So if you are curious about, some of the things that are being identified in these audits and how they are remediated, you can go to bitwarden.com/help and then / is Bitwarden audited. And you'll see a full long list of all the different audits that Bitwarden has conducted over the years. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the high level what I wanted to share today. But if there's any questions in the chat, please bubble them up. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so we can move on, but I'll be here if there is any questions regarding Bitwarden security.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks,
Casey.
Casey. All right, I'm taking over now for product updates. I'm going to go ahead and start by talking about just the Bitwarden roadmap for people who are always curious about this. Bitwarden is very transparent, and we publish our roadmap every 2 quarters. We do like a really big update for it, and we also update it as items are coming out with check marks. So you can go to bitwarden.com/roadmap to see it, and it just shows the current priorities of the development team. It's not it's not a timeline, so it's just very directional of what we're working on. And just so everybody knows, like if ever there's a security issue, that obviously comes first. Security is tantamount, paramount, and our top priority. So any vulnerability fix will push down any other things that are coming. So our roadmap is very flexible, but you can see everything that we're working on there. In fact, I actually took some screenshots and I put them up here on the next slide, so we can see exactly what is coming and what's there. It's divided into 2. It's basically just listed here as a list. End user experience is on the left, and then Bitwarden for businesses on the right. A little bit difficult to read on the screen, but there's some things that are on both of these lists that we are previewing today that are actually really neat that we'll also talk about. So actually on the Bitwarden roadmap here on the left, you'll see the credential exchange protocol on the bottom, and we're going to share that today. And then Bitwarden Send update as well. So it's really neat. And one of the items that's on the list that is being delivered is disable card items as a new enterprise policy. It's pretty self-explanatory. There we go. Really self-explanatory. It just removes credit cards and debit cards, whatever. The card item just gets removed from the vault. It refuses it. The Bitwarden vault will not allow people to create or save any of these items, and this offers some groundwork for control of other items. So, for example, like maybe you don't want to have identities as an item listed, and there could be a policy that follows on to this. So this was something that came in as some feedback from one of our enterprise customers, and we were happy to implement it. I think a lot of people will get use out of it. Biometric security improvements. Some of y'all might have noticed that the biometrics workflow has changed a little bit again on the desktop application. After your computer is restarted or the Bitwarden app is restarted, the desktop app will now need to be first unlocked with some other method besides biometrics. So you could use a PIN or a master password first to unlock. And once that is unlocked, then you can just use biometrics as normal to unlock the extension. And this was done to improve the security posture of how the keys were stored on the device and a lot of other technical stuff that we need to bring on an expert to talk into. But the team is looking into ways to kind of improve this flow still. But as I've said before, security is always first. All right. Next is a fun feature, and this is card autofill for Android. Go to the next slide here. You can see, again, a very self-explanatory thing. You can now autofill cards on Android and Chrome and any other browser, really. So for people like me who refuse to like download like the Square app or anything like that, or always check out as guest, now it would be really easy to order food online and stuff with just instead of having to whip out my credit card and actually type it in, it's now saved in the Bitwarden vault, which is awesome. And part of the workarounds on this is, Chrome on Android, just so people are aware, has become a little bit more restrictive with autofill options. And so, like, we've implemented this as best as was available to us. So we would appreciate any feedback that people have on this feature and how it works out in the wild. So looking forward to this. This will be coming very soon, in next week or so. And actually, that's it for me. Any questions about these upcoming features, product updates, roadmap? All right. Well, we'll move on then.
All right, I'll take it from here. Hi, everybody. I'm Barry, the engineering manager for the mobile team here at Bitwarden. So Apple is expected to announce new iPhones and the launch date for iOS 26 on Tuesday, September the 9th. To be ready for this as best we can, we're going to release a beta version of our app with iOS 26 support on Monday, September 1st, so in about 3 days. And we can move to the next slide, please. It's important to know this is a separate app from Password Manager, as it's a beta version. So the production data is not shared between them for obvious reasons. You will need to have iOS 26 beta version installed on your device to access it and also be part of our test flight program. As always, we would love to get any feedback you have through GitHub. Next slide, please. Okay, so Credential Exchange Protocol, or CXP, is going to coincide with our iOS 26 release. CXP is a FIDO and Alliance standard for securely transferring passkeys and other credentials between password managers or platforms. So you can export your passkeys in a standardized encrypted format and import them into Bitwarden on your iOS devices. And this allows bulk transfers or backups without compromising security. So we're excited to be one of the first to launch this. Any questions on iOS 26 or Credential Exchange Protocol?
So the Credential Exchange Protocol here. Now we have a little bit of background on like how Bitwarden's developed.
Oh, what was that? I think you cut out, Ryan.
Oh, I was asking if there's if we have any stories on how this spec was developed and how Bitwarden like helped work and lead this charge. I don't know if you're okay. I'll say what I know. This is something that we've been this is something that Bitwarden has been working on for over a year in partnership with Microsoft and Apple, and also the other big password managers, 1Password and Dashlane as well. So this has been like a really big industry effort to help everybody be more portable with passwords, and passkeys specifically was really what helped this spec out. So now it'll be really easy to transfer passkeys and passwords from one service to another on the services that support this CXP protocol. So it's really exciting. It's going to let people have more ownership and freedom to move out of walled gardens. That some people might be locked into and into a password manager that will allow them to work more cross-platform. So this is a really neat and exciting update. Thank you to Apple for being the first to really push it, and we'll see it become more available in other applications.
Yeah, this is a huge win. So Barry, thank you for coming on to give us a little sneak peek. With trying to push passkey adoption, this is one of the blockers that a lot of people have, is that portability requirement. And just being able to make sure that that's part of your import-export and you can take it with you wherever you want to go, that is just completely massive. A lot of these social engineering attempts, and we have seen a lot of those reports of people trying to phish, our users, as with any SaaS tool. Switching to passkeys wherever possible is an awesome way to reduce your chances of ending up on one of those malicious websites. So being able to have this portable standard, import, export, that is just huge. So thank you everyone that worked on this, and I'm sure the community is going to be super excited about it as well. And we'll have more details on that beta in a community post on Monday for the iOS 26 side of the house. So now we'll jump over to the next slide and talk a bit about the software release policy. We have a couple pinned posts in the community right now, but we just wanted to highlight that we do have the policy in place. And right now, it just means that we, as much as possible, it's best to update to the latest client and latest server. That's to get the latest security updates, the latest features. And this is the middle number when you're looking at the server number, the release number. So just the number 8 that's highlighted in pink there. So you always want to make sure, if you're having any issues, to just update your client first, and then and your server in parallel. And we'll jump to the next slide. And why is this important? Because it allows the team to deliver new features faster, more reliably. The number of clients that we support through different versions is pretty intricate. So to be able to develop in a more streamlined, secure, and fast way, it's just really important for us to stick to this release policy. So it helps us deliver a better product. It helps you stay secure. So this is just a reminder to make sure that your clients and server is up to date. Older ones can work if you have the pair, but if you have that client that's out of sync with the server or vice versa, there could be any number of issues. So let me know if there's any questions about that. Drop it in the chat if you have any concerns. And the next slide. So for the feature preview, we're joined by Priya and Sucleen, who are going to talk about Bitwarden Send. So we're going to hand it over, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, everyone. I am Priya, one of the product managers here, and I lead enterprise and channel here at Bitwarden. And I'll be talking through an upcoming feature for Bitwarden Send. For those who don't know, Bitwarden Send is a feature that allows users to securely share text or files with anyone via an end-to-end encrypted link. And it's a great way to share private and sensitive information with others. And so we can move on to the next slide. Thanks. And so with this feature, we're expanding Bitwarden Send to allow users to specify who can access these sends by entering their email addresses, and then requiring the recipients to verify their email via a one-time passcode before accessing the send. And so more broadly, currently in Send, users have the first two options listed here. So either anyone with the send link can access the contents, or you have the option to set a password. So anyone with that password can access the send. And so now we're adding a third option, which is to only allow specific people based on their email addresses to access the send. And so overall, this is giving users more control and security over the information that they're sharing. And I have my teammate Sucleen, who will walk through the prototype, but I think there's some technical issues, so I'll go ahead and walk through that. So give me a moment to switch screens.
And while we're getting that set up, feel free to share in the chat if you're using Bitwarden Send right now. We have existing security features like the expiration, the view limit, and optional password, and this is just going to be a much improved seamless experience. So feel free to drop any Bitwarden Send comments in the chat as we get going with this demo.
And Don, I think I might need you to stop sharing in order to switch to my screen. Thank you. Okay. So here's our prototype for the email verification feature. So as you can see, we're just currently within the send page on the web app. I'm going to go and select to create a new send. And you'll see there's kind of some formatting changes here. We've shifted this to a drawer. And the big change is we've added this third option, like I mentioned before, specific people. So you can kind of specify who can access this send. So when I enter that information, here is the field where I can enter who is allowed to access these contents. And then I'll select save, and then I'll get my link to share out to my intended recipients. And then if I switch to the person who receives the send in their flow, when they open the send link, this is where they will enter their email address. And then when I click send code, that will take me to the next screen and also send me a one-time passcode to my email address. And so here, if I go to my email, my inbox, I see that there is a verification code. And so I'll copy and paste that verification code back to that send flow. And if that is the correct code and I click view send, now I can access the contents of the send. So as I mentioned before, this is providing more control and security to that send flow. If folks have any questions, feel free to add it to the chat. Myself, as well as my teammates, Clean, will be around to answer any questions.
Thanks so much for sharing that. I love the improved seamless experience rather than having to manage that additional set password, just being able to indicate an email and then share the link as you would and just knowing that it's protected like that. So super awesome. Love to see it. And next, I think we're kicking it back over to Casey on the next slide, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I know a lot of people on the call are Bitwarden Power users, and that's kind of why you join these ball hours, right? Is because you want to know the latest and greatest of what Bitwarden is developing and how to use Bitwarden more effectively within your workflows. One aspect that I'm not sure we talk about often enough is custom fields. Custom fields really streamline the way that you autofill. And if we go to the next slide, I'll jump into a little bit more about that. So custom fields are really developed to help you autofill more unique login fields. So imagine you are, purchasing a flight somewhere. You might need your airline mileage plan ID. I use it a lot for bank security questions, maybe delivery instructions for some sort of food delivery. This can be used for so many different types of fields and really help streamline that autofill process. This can also be used to help troubleshoot autofill issues if you're finding that Bitwarden is not automatically inputting that information the way that you would like. So Vivian, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to steal this, the screen away from you and do a short little demo. Beautiful. Okay, so on this page, clearly a very rudimentary kind of form field, but what we're doing here is we are on a pizza delivery site, right? So something that might be very common for people, especially if you're working in the office. You can see here that we have multiple different types of form fields. We've got the customer name, telephone number, and email address. We also have some radio buttons to fill out regarding our pizza and what kind of toppings we want. And then we also have some delivery instructions down here. Now with Bitwarden, since I have a login saved for this delivery site, I can just autofill that information. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-L or Command-Shift-L to autofill. you can see that information was automatically added from what I had pre-configured within my Bitwarden item. You can see here, I don't have anything for the telephone number at this moment in time. So I'll kind of walk through how to add that. I'll go up to the Bitwarden extension, and you can see I have the pizza delivery site saved. Click into that. So we can see that the username was auto-filled into the email address. And as we scroll down, we can see that we have multiple different custom fields that I use to autofill in the pre-configured information. So I'm just going to click Edit, scroll down, and under Custom Fields here, I can add a new field.
Sorry, Casey, are folks able to see Casey's navigation in the screen? Because I'm not seeing anything, but that could be me.
Oh, geez, I think you're right, Vivian, that you can't see the Bitwarden extension, which is fairly important.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure that, let me reshare.
Yeah, if you could maybe start over from the beginning when you were trying to.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see if we can hide. Okay, this should be fine. Great. So, let's see. Oh,
Okay,
beautiful.
yeah,
Now you can see the Bitwarden
yes.
extension. So if we go back, you can see that Bitwarden is offering up this pizza delivery site as an autofill suggestion. If I click into that, you can see that the username has been mapped to the email address on these on this delivery site. If I go down to edit, we can add a new custom field for that telephone number. So we have multiple different custom fields, and I'll kind of walk through exactly what those are and how to add different types. But let's start off with the most simple, which is the text-based field. So we're going to click Add Field. As you see, there's multiple different field types here. We're going to do text-based. So that's the kind of standard, kind of open, response kind of text field. And then it's requesting a field label. This is what is used to map the information that we store in Bitwarden into the correct field on the website. So if we go over to telephone, right, which is what we're trying to autofill, we can get that information in a couple of different ways. The easiest is to right-click into the form field, go down to Bitwarden, and then copy custom field name. If you are familiar with HTML, you could also inspect this field and pull the field name out of the inspection form, but don't need to make it complicated on yourself. So we're going to go back into the Bitwarden extension. We're going to add a field, text field. That is the name of the telephone field number. We're going to click add. And now we can type in what our phone number is. Let's say, beautiful. Then click save. So now if we go back, we can autofill again, and you can see that that phone number was automatically filled. If we go back here too, you can see that there's a couple of different types of custom form fields. Going to edit, we're going to add a new field. Hidden is very similar to a password, right? So you can see in most Bitwarden items, the password is already hidden. And so this operates in a very similar way. We can add a field label for that. Checkbox is what I've used to autofill the radio buttons. So for both pizza size and pizza toppings, we would just need to add the field label, and then, as you can see here, you can select if you want that selected or unselected. The last custom field item is linked. So if you're experiencing specific autofill issues with either the username or the password, You can pull that specific field label. Let's just choose a random one here. And then select if you want your password or username filled into that specific field. So that really helps fix any kind of issues that you're experiencing if your username and password are not autofilling for a specific site. I'm just going to delete that one. Beautiful. So that's kind of high level how to use custom fields to autofill in kind of unique information within unique form fields that don't fit a username or password. So definitely recommend this for Bitwarden Power users and those who are using Bitwarden on the regular. Great. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thanks, Casey.
There we
That was
go.
awesome. And the
Yeah,
moral
of
of the
course.
story is don't mess with Casey's pizza order because she'll find a way. All right, so next we're going to jump over to another tip, which is Chrome autofill integration. So for anyone on mobile that's using a Chromium-based browser like Chrome or Brave, if you have experienced any kind of functionality that's breaking with trying to autofill, Android has made some changes which require you to choose specifically to use Chrome or Brave to autofill, or if you want to use other services. So we'll just jump to the next screen. So this is in addition to setting up the top option, which is for that autofill services, choosing between that inline keyboard and overlay pop-up function. This is specifically something, if you toggle it, it's going to take you to your browser settings, and that will let you change from Google to autofill with another service. Unlike before, where you could use the services in parallel, Android's forcing you to choose between. So that's why it's really important that we are launching that credit card functionality, and we are also bringing identity support soon. So the team's working hard on that, but if you're having any issues, just make sure to come into your settings menu, check both of those settings, and you should see a big improvement. Now, if you're experiencing an issue right now with autofill flashing up and then switching back to the main view, the team caught that bug, and there will be an update for that shortly. So that's all for that one. Next slide. And then we want to talk about some community questions. So we asked you all, what's your best way to prevent a lockout? And we just wanted to share a couple of those answers here because it happens more often than you think if you haven't set up access to your master password, if you haven't made sure to store your 2FA outside of your password manager. So let's just jump to the next slide. So from Jason, one of our moderators on Reddit, always there with some great tips on how to work with emergency sheets and backups. A good tip here to not just rely on your memory. We would all love to think that we can just store everything up here, but it just takes some kind of medical emergency and or you're not having enough sleep, and suddenly that PIN, that password, it just is not there for you that day. So it's always important to make sure to use that emergency sheet, and Jason has some great examples on his GitHub repo here. We also have the security readiness kit on the Bitwarden website, and it just helps you get in the habit of filling out that key information. So those master passwords, making sure that you have TOTP, 2FA codes, recovery codes. There was a popular Reddit post on our subreddit recently where somebody walked through that whole experience of pretending they forgot their master password and what would they do to get access to their account. So it's good to think about these things. And on the next slide, we have some more tips. And here's another one, getting a physical safe. In addition to having those emergency kits, you can also have a physical safe in your home where you can store any kind of encrypted drives, extra copies of that printed sheet. And then mentioning YubiKeys are great to access Bitwarden. Another one of our recent community questions was, have you replaced any 2FA with a passkey? That's a great way to prevent yourself from landing on a phishing site. So that is a good one as well. And then just to answer Danny's question here, we did have an issue resolved in a newer release that was just affecting some copy-paste autofill. So that should be rolling out for everybody soon. And I think we have one more tip on the next page. We also do have emergency access depending on your plan. So make sure if you have access, check out your settings in the web app. You can designate a specific person in your account as needed, and that person can request access to your account and then you have time to prevent that access, or if you're unable to answer, they can help with that account and take it over, in estate planning and such circumstances. So any questions about 2FA? We love seeing those tips from the community. There was a lot more in the post, so we thank everyone for engaging on that. It's super important to make sure you have a long, strong, and unique password, and then you also have 2FA enabled wherever possible. And then next slide. Next one is, how do I change my password? So if you were maybe previously reusing your password, or if a system you had was compromised and you needed to create a new master password to something unique, this is just a link to where to do that in our help center. It's always a good idea to create a backup of your vault first. We recommend doing that on a regular basis, and just making sure that you have that backup outside your vault before changing your master password. And if you need any help with setting up a master password, just scroll to the bottom of the Bitwarden website. We have a great password generator there to give you an idea of what that could be, including a passphrase, which could be a six-word passphrase that you can memorize. And then next slide. I think, is Sai here to chat about the Open Source Security Summit, or I can cover this one? Yep, Sai will be here in just a sec. Thanks, Sai.
I did just invite her. So.
Oh, okay. I can just cover this one. If you haven't registered for the Open Source Security Summit already, we'll jump to the next slide. We have great speakers lined up, and on the website there, opensourcesecuritysummit.com, you can check out our previous highlights. We've had some awesome speakers, great questions, and looking forward to seeing you all there. So that's coming up in September on the 25th. That's going to be for a couple hours. There will be little breakout rooms, but if you're interested in finding out who's going to be attending, do we have one more slide, or was that it for this one? Yeah, here's a little snapshot. So some great speakers lined up, and it should be a really awesome show. Awesome. Oh, and then Sai's with us. Sai, if you want to kick off the next section.
Yeah, that was really funny. I think I know what Sai's doing.
So the giveaway is being presented by Sai's Pets today, courtesy of some lovely friendly critters. So yeah, if you are interested in getting some Bitwarden store giveaway, we'll jump to the next slide. And then just head to bitwarden.com/shop. Here's the contact form. Just mention that the giveaway was during Vault Hours 55, and just make sure you do it within 24 hours of our chat today, and we want to send you guys something cool. So yeah, I think that's it. If anyone has any other questions before we head out, there was one in the chat about recommended to self-host. Usually we, with self-hosting, it's good to start with some smaller self-hosting projects, not your passwords. Once you get familiar with, scaling up some of those little apps, maybe a note-taking app or something like that, you can move on to password management. But we typically don't recommend just jumping into self-hosting if it's not something that you've already been doing. Just start small, work your way up. There's a lot to learn about how to protect your own server once you are managing that infrastructure. But great question.
I see this question here about native desktop passkeys or desktop native passkeys, and it's a little bit annoying that Microsoft announced with 1Password, where when they were talking with us about a year ago, Bitwarden was also a partner. Like, there's a nice little slide that I have from an internal presentation that has both 1Password and Bitwarden on it. And yes, we are working on it. That'll be something that comes next month. You'll see it. It'll be in beta. It'll be pretty cool. You'll be able to use passkeys and saved onto your device in your Bitwarden vault, so that you wouldn't have to use Windows Hello. Well, you still go through Windows Hello, but it wouldn't be saved onto the device. It'll be saved into the vault, which is really awesome. So look for some news on that. We'll have something announced shortly.
Yeah, desktop autotype and desktop passkeys is a huge ask. So we're super excited about the work that the team has been doing, and looking forward to sharing more. Yeah, great questions. I agree, Elliot. Cool. Bert, I'm not sure by memory if that can be done or not. Let me just have a quick look if anyone else knows.
I'm not familiar with that.
If we can't figure it out for you, don't hesitate to shoot a question over to support, and we'll see if we can get that answered for you. But anyone else have any questions that popped up during today's chat? Okay, good feedback there. So it sounds like you know what you're doing. Cool. Well, thank you all so much for joining us, and we look forward to chatting with you at the next Vault Hours and sharing even more awesome updates with you. So everybody stay secure, and we will see you in the next one.